What's going on, everybody? So, welcome to my review of X-Men 97, episode 4, which is a two-parter, which is Motendo slash Lifedeath part 1. Um, I think the two-parter is the actual Life-Death, and Motendo is not a two-parter. I don't think Motendo is a two-part, just to put that out there. But I think the Life-Death is the two-part. But to put this into terms, I think this is basically two episodes as one complete episode. So, with that being said, let me pause the music so we can really break down this episode. All right. Getting better, drinking some tea. My voice is coming back, so I'm gonna keep drinking my tea, getting myself ready for these review videos so I can actually sound somewhat decent instead of like a robotic voice, because my voice is going out. um so where do we start? Motendo. So Motendo is basically a Jubilee eccentric episode. It centers around Jubilee and Sunspot. Um, so basically it's Jubilee's birthday and her 18th birthday. And the only time that pretty much the X-Men make an appearance is all the X-Men except for Scott and Jean. Scott and Jean do not make an appearance at all in both Motendo and Lifedeath. But yeah, everybody else besides Scott and Jean makes an appearance, and they only make an appearance at the beginning of Motendo, where they discuss what to do for Jubilee's birthday, and Jubilee basically has a suggestion, but Magneto shoots it down because it's childish. You know, Magneto, he's serious. So this leads Jubilee to find like a weird game console that she never seen before in her room, and it's almost like a cross between it. I want to say it looked like the game cartridge didn't look like a Sega Genesis game cartridge, but the system looked like a Sega Genesis. Even had the 16-bit on it, but it kind of looked like a 64 cartridge. But I don't know. But basically, you can say it probably was the Sega Genesis because it played like Sega Genesis level. Even though about time 97 hit, it was all about the 64 and the next generation, PlayStation 64, the next iterations of the consoles. Yeah, I think by that time, 97, we've shifted from Super Nintendo to Sega Genesis to PlayStation, and yeah. So, but hey, nostalgia, right? And it still hit my nostalgia button to see that Sega Genesis like console, but I digress. So they think about playing. The Sunspot is in her room with her. They think about playing it, but they decide not to. But something happens that sucks them into this X-Men of the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis game like world. And that was like one of the things I was fanboying nostalgic out my ass about, was that the actual video game, like at the actual video game that they showed on screen, it looked just like an old X-Men of that for those console like games. It felt like it, and it played like it too. It played like the Streets of Rage, up and down side scroller 2D fighters. It played just like Streets of Rage, the X-Men games, Mega Man, all that. So throughout, they have to figure out what's going on, and they end up finding out that Damn it, what's his name? I forgot the villain's name. I gonna call him Motendo, but his name is I forgot what his actual name is. Um uh you know what? I can actually look it up. I'm gonna look it up real quick so I can actually say this guy's name right. Give me one moment. Cause it, she's a Julie Adventures. Blah blah blah. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Mojo. Is that his name? Mojo? Yeah, I think his name is Mojo. Blah blah blah. Yeah, his name is Mojo. I can't. I thought I wanted to call him Motendo, but his and then I'm like, okay, hold on. I know his name is not Motendo. But it he I just got because I was sitting here reading about the character. But he was actually like one of the obscured, X-Men characters. But I'm sorry. Anyway, so Mojo, they found out that Mojo is the reason why that they had to they're trapped in this game. And along the way they Jubilee and Sunspot or Roberto learn some learn something unique about the game. They meet a certain person. Uh they meet a certain person that's trapped in the game as well, voiced by the original Jubilee actress. So pretty much, even if they're not in the main cast, the entirety of the main cast so far, besides the original Magneto and Professor X, has been in this show in one way or another. Because as you know, the only original cast in the original roles are Beast, Storm, and Wolverine. Uh, but the original Cyclops, the original Jubilee, the original Gambit, all of them is going to be coming back and voicing different characters. But it was nice to hear the original Jubilee character come back. I instantly recognized it too. Cause I'm like, why did that sound like both Jubilees? And I'm like, oh, then I found out, I'm like, oh, that was the original Jubilee. She voiced that character. I'm like, okay, that's why it sounded like the original Jubilee from the 90s, the original 90s run. But they find out some secrets and they end up getting help. And it help. And yeah, it leads to I guess you could say, somewhat romantic end. Um, but then we get over to life death. Now, life death is just like Jubilee's episode. Is centered is a entirely different story. But where it's similar is it's just like Jubilee's, and said that it's focused on this time two characters again, but two different characters in Storm and Forge. And the story centers around Forge, who got his mutant ability is actually being able to build anything that his mind conjures, and he could build a machine. He tells Storm that he could build a machine to help give her her abilities back. All the while they're being stalked by this owl, and they she asks Forge, Forge and her bond. There's a little bit of romantic influence there. Um, I'm trying to say stuff without spoiling it too much. Uh, but yeah, Forge basically try to build this machine, and whether or not it works, you will have to see if you haven't seen the episode. But the bigger threat is this owl, who turns out to be this otherworldly demonic presence that feeds off of anguish and despair, and has been stalking Storm as her prey. And thus we're left on the cliffhanger. Uh, both episodes was very good. I guess it's only one episode, but both Motendo and Life Death Part One was very good, very well written. I like the characters involved. I like the stories and the acting, the voice acting. Uh, Everything was good to me. I have no problem with it. Nothing fell off. Nothing was wrong. Pretty very decent episode. Uh, if anything, I was more into Motendo than I was Life Death. But for the most part, I was into Life Death. But like, I guess you could say the romantic relationship between Forge and uh, Storm was the part that probably took me out. But even though I know it's part of the comics, because I saw a video that said that this happens in the comic that they took inspiration from. So I'm like, okay, I give you points for that. I mean, I didn't really care, but I give you points for the fact that you brought those exact comic book pages to life in this episode. So, with that being said, I'm going to give episode 4, Motendo / Life Death Part 1. I'm going to give it an 8. Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 big ups because it was a decent episode. I enjoyed it. Nothing wrong with it. Enjoyed it for what it was. But you let me know in the comments down below what you thought, and if you enjoyed my review, you know what to do. You hit this button right there for all of my reviews, movies, or TV shows. And if you enjoy the video so much you want to support your channel, all you gotta do is hit those buttons. And as always, hit one of these videos for more of my amazing content, but don't go anywhere. We got more. Peace. Oh, oh, uh, forgot. And I wanted to say, get over to Wrestling Pit Podcast and subscribe if you already have it. So now, yeah, I made that 97 pop up. Peace.